All right. Okay. So today's class is going to be called Isaiah 56, line upon line. Isaiah 56, line upon line. Now, we got a lot of precepts to give today, and you might not be able to keep up with it, but make sure you write the scripture down at least as we go through it, okay? Reason why we're going over this is Christianity uses this chapter a lot to bring in all nations, not understanding the precepts of this chapter and what it actually means. So we're going to go through this line upon line, all right? So let's make sure you got those links pulled up and everything too. So Isaiah 56, line upon line. Let's read Isaiah 56 and 1.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 56 and verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgment and do justice.
Okay, so it says, keep ye judgment and do justice. The Lord is big on judgment and justice, right? That's how he governs himself. That's how he carries himself. Give me the definition on judgment. They already set up all the links. All you got to do is pull them up. Read that for me, officer.
The definition of judgment: the process of forming an opinion or evaluation by discerning and comparing an opinion or estimate so formed.
Scroll down. Let's see. It should be some more. Okay.
The capacity for judging, discernment.
There we go. Discernment. The capacity for judging. You have to have discernment. So with you understanding your walk in this truth, be very careful with administering judgment, because it takes a certain level of discernment to make sure the right judgment is passed. So don't pull the cart before the horse until the Lord lets you know, I'm ready for you to be in that position. Give me the definition for justice. So it says, keep ye judgment and do justice. Let's read that. The definition for justice.
Justice: the maintenance or administration of what is just, especially the impartial adjustment of conflicting claims or the assignment of merited rewards or punishments.
Scroll down.
Judge.
Let's see what C is. Administration of law.
The administration of law.
There should be some more on that. Scroll down.
The quality.
That's it right there.
The quality of being just, impartial, or fair.
The Lord's big on that. Give me Leviticus 18. Let's read 4 and 5.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and verse 4.
All of this is going to tie in to the bottom portion of Isaiah 56 as we go through it. Read that.
Ye shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord.
He shall, if he do them, he shall live in them. Live in my judgments and the statutes, right? Jump over to verse 26.
Leviticus chapter 18, verse 26. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you.
You shall keep my judgments. Remember, it says the Lord said, keep judgment and justice, right? Jump over to 19, and let's read 15.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 15. You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment.
No unrighteousness in judgment when administering the punishment for the law broken. Do no unrighteousness in judgment. Now, we live in a country that is full of unrighteous judgments when it comes to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Full of it. But God says, ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor.
We live in a society where, depending on how much money you got, you can get off even if you commit murder. Are you able to afford a lawyer? Well, if they live by the law, thou should not respect the person of the poor, it wouldn't matter. Everybody is entitled to the best lawyers, but not here in this country. Go ahead.
Nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor.
Is that it on that one? I want to jump over to verse 35.
Verse 35.
Uh-huh.
Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, in meat yard, in weight, or in measure. Just balances, just weights, a just ephah and a just hin shall ye have. I am the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall you observe all my statutes and all my judgments and do them. I am the Lord.
So you read how big the Lord is on judgment and justice. It's all through the Bible. Judgments, 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 judgments. Go to Deuteronomy 1 and 16. So we see how big he is on that judgment. So he did this to make sure that it was followed. Deuteronomy 1, 16 and 17.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1 and verse 16. I charge your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother and the stranger that is with him. You shall not respect persons in judgment, but you shall hear the small as well as the great. You shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is God.
The judgment is God. That's why we got the laws, because the judgment ultimately comes from God. Go ahead.
And the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it.
And I will hear it. Let's jump over to Deuteronomy chapter 4. Let's read 5 on down.
Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments.
And what?
And judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that you should do so in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
Now, see, we're talking about keep these judgments. This is your wisdom. This is why we are looked down so much as a nation, because we don't even judge matters among ourselves correctly. We allow our own people in our own music to talk bad about our own women. Nobody else does that. That's why the nation look like these no wisdom at all. They actually sell drugs to their own people that are already on the bottom and kill each other. There is no wisdom in them. And when they do go outside of the judgment to do wrong to each other, nobody wants to correct the mistake. They all turn a blind eye to it. That's why the other nations see it. They say there's no wisdom in them at all. They don't even. You do that stuff over there in Arabia. They will bring you out into the middle of the street, public execution. They ain't letting judgment slide. But Esau's trying to push it on them, though. They trying to push all that liberalism on them. Read verse 6 again.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Because of the judgments of God. Go ahead.
For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great, that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day?
Go to verse 44. All these great judgments. Verse 44.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 44. And this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Moses spake unto the children of Israel after they came forth out of Egypt.
Out of Egypt. Now go to Ezekiel 20. I'm going to show you something. We read all of that about judgments. The Lord said, I delight in judgments. I love judgment and justice. But here's Israel, Ezekiel 20. Let's read 10 through 16.
The book of Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 10. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt, and brought them into the wilderness, and I gave them my statutes and shewed them my judgments.
And showed them my judgment. Please, brothers, here's a news fact too. Y'all brothers that's on the street reading, this is not 1611. Shewed. And hear ye, hear, brothers, your job is to make the Bible, because I heard it last night. Your job is to make the Bible easy to understand. So you come across those things, don't get all holier than thou. Shewed thee. Nobody on the streets know what shewed thee means. Can you please read that again for us, officer?
And I gave them my statutes and showed them my judgments,
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Go ahead.
which if a man do, he shall even live in them.
Where did we read that at already? Now, this is because you got to pay attention. I ain't going to ask you too many questions. It ain't a lot of deep stuff where, breaking down prophecy stuff. It's going to be straightforward. You're going to have to listen to remember what we read. Jeramiel, where would we read that already at? Mic on? Leviticus 18:5. Make sure the mic stays on, man. He shall even live in them. Read on.
Verse 12.
Yep.
Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctify them.
Remember them Sabbaths. Go ahead.
But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, and they despised my judgments.
We did what?
They despised my judgments.
That's why God in Isaiah 56 said, keep judgment and justice. But we despise God's judgments. Go ahead.
Which if a man do, he shall even live in them. And my Sabbath they greatly polluted.
Remember that my Sabbath, they greatly polluted them. It's all going to tie together. Go ahead.
Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen in whose sight I brought them out. Yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands.
It's the what?
The glory of all lands.
It's the Jerusalem is the glory of all lands. That's why the ones that have stolen it and taken our nationality, they do not want to give it up. It's the glory, and it's in a barren, desolate state right now, and they still don't want to give it up. Because it's the glory of all lands. Go ahead.
Because they despise my judgments.
We did what?
They despise my judgments, and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Sabbaths. For their heart went after their idols.
Their heart went after what?
Their idols.
Let's go back to Isaiah now. Let's go to Isaiah 56:1 again.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed.
Let's go to Isaiah 46. It says, my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Isaiah 46:13.
Isaiah chapter 46 verse 13. I bring near my righteousness, it shall not be far off, and my salvation shall not tarry. I will place salvation in Zion.
In where?
In Zion, for Israel my glory.
Read it again.
I bring near my righteousness, it shall not be far off, and my salvation shall not tarry. I will place salvation in Zion, for Israel my glory.
For Israel my glory. Let's go to 62. Isaiah 62, and let's read verse 1.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 62, verse 1. For Zion's sake will I not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and the salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth.
Read it again.
For Zion's sake will I not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and the salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth.
As a lamp that burneth. So it's bright, right? It's all over the earth. Go to Psalms. I want to go to the Psalms. Let's see something. Psalm 71. Let's read 15 through 19. Get ready to pull that next definition.
Psalm 71, verse 15. My mouth shall shew forth thy righteousness and thy salvation all the day. For I know not the numbers thereof. I will go in the strength of the Lord. I will make mention of thy righteousness, even of thine only.
Even of thine only. Even means it means indeed. Indeed of thine only. Go ahead.
O God, thou hast taught me from my youth, and hitherto have I declared thy wondrous works. Now also, when I am old and gray-headed, O God, Forsake me not until I have showed thy strength unto this generation, and thy power to everyone that is to come.
So that's our job. Even in our old and gray hair, our job is to show the strength of the Lord to this generation. Go ahead.
And thy righteousness also, O God, is very high.
Is what?
Is very high.
Uh-huh.
Who has done great things, O God? Who is like unto thee?
Who is like unto thee? Thy righteousness is very high. Give me the definition of righteousness. Because it said back in Isaiah 56, it said that I bring near my righteousness. You got something else? Sir? Okay. Go ahead. Bring it up. Let's
Righteousness. Acting in accord with divine or
divine.
acting in accord with divine or moral law, free from guilt or sin,
Read the next part too.
morally right or justifiable,
Scroll down. What's that number 3?
genuine, excellent,
Genuine, excellent. Let's see the other words. Or synonyms, whatever you got right there. Yeah, let's read those.
all right, decent, ethical, good, honest, honorable, just, moral, nice, right, right-minded, straight, true, upright, virtuous.
Virtuous. Let's go back to it. Let's go. What does that say in Psalms? It says, thy righteousness is very high. That's why God said in, let's see, where's it at? Let's go to Isaiah 55. We're going to jump back over. Isaiah 55, verse 8 and 9. Let's read that.
Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
So David said, thy righteousness is very high. It's so high. It's 3 heavens high that we can't even find out where it is. That's how divine God is. Jumping back over to Isaiah 56. Let's read 1 again.
Isaiah chapter 56 verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed.
Read on.
Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it.
On this right here, read.
That keepeth the Sabbath from polluting
That
it.
do what?
Keepeth the Sabbath from polluting
Where
it.
do we read about keeping the Sabbath and not polluting it? Where do we read that already? Let's see who's paying attention. No hands. Nobody's paying attention. That's why I said you got to pay attention while we reading. Alfred, what you got?
Is in Ezekiel 20, verse 10.
Okay, Ezekiel 20, right. We read that already about the Sabbath. And who was it talking about polluting the Sabbath? Who was polluting the Sabbath?
Israel.
Israel, okay. All right. That keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it. Let's go to Exodus. No, Genesis. Genesis 2. Let's read 1 through 3. Let's see the importance of the Sabbath.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2, and verse
1.
Verse 1.
Yep.
Thus the heaven and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the 7th day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made.
So the first holy day from God was the Sabbath day. That's how important it was. The first one that he ever created in creation was the Sabbath day. That's why he said this. Go to Exodus 20. The first one. And we all know the first thing is the first child, the first thing you make, the first paycheck, all of that stuff holds a special place in your heart. So how much more the Sabbath day that God created, and we sitting up here defiling it and polluting it. Exodus 20, let's read verse 8 on down.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Why? Why do you need to remember to keep it holy? And I just basically threw you a dime pass. John Levi. Why? All right, just say it. In the back. Far back corner. Last seat on the right. No mic. Yeah, you got to stand up. No mic. Shalom. Why do we need to remember to keep it holy? Nope. Y'all missed it. You missed it already. Answer right there. Let me know you missed it. Nariah. Is what? It's the first high holy day he created. So you better remember to keep it holy. That's the first thing I did. The first holy day I gave you. And you wasn't even on the earth at that time. But we're going to get to precepts, though. Let's read verse 9 on down to show you. Read
the
that.
book of Exodus chapter 20 and verse 9.
9 on down, quick.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them. All that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Made it holy. Let's go to 23. Is that what I want? 23 and 12.
The book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 12.
Yep.
6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the seventh day thou shalt rest.
Thou shalt rest, right? So if it all possible, you brothers, you looking for better jobs, you ain't got no job, you looking for one, you better find one that gives you the Sabbath day off. Far too many times have people came in here broke without a dime, a pot to pee in, and a window to throw it out. And you get one, and then you make sure it's on the Sabbath. Or you get it, and then they tell you you got to work on the Sabbath, and you don't put up no argument at all. You don't say nothing about what you believe in. Nothing. Hey, got to work on the Sabbath, y'all. Send up prayer for me. The Lord's will I see y'all whenever. And you surely fade to non-existence, because on this day you are supposed to rest. Read on.
That thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed.
So the Sabbath day is important to us because, first off, it's a spiritual and physical refresher of the mind, body, and soul. It's a refresh, especially if you are, what's that thing you say? If you are fully engulfed, if you are hot for the truth. If you lukewarm, it really don't matter to you. But if you hot for the truth, for the Lord, and that spirit is in you, you can't, what's his name? Jeremiah, he couldn't keep his mouth closed because the word was down in him. If that's you, you're going to make sure you at the Sabbath so you can be refreshed spiritually and mentally. Let's go to Exodus 16. 16 and 5.
The book of Exodus, chapter 16 and verse 5. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily.
Is that it? Gather daily? Okay,
yes.
Jump over to verse 23.
Verse 23. And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord had said. Tomorrow is tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye shall bake today, and seethe that ye will seethe, and that which remaineth lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
So you cook Friday before sundown. Do all you got to do, so when that Sabbath day come, you can rest and be refreshed. You don't have to be burdened of whipping up something in the kitchen. Especially sisters, give yourself a break. But you got to make sure you prepare through the 6 days so you can have that seventh day to rest, just like the Most High is doing. Go to Exodus 35, 1 through 3.
The book of Exodus, chapter 35 and verse 1.
And these may sound like basic scriptures, but when we ask questions, we don't get answers. So it lets us know we got to keep going over these basic things, the milk, so you can grow. Read that.
Exodus chapter 35, verse 1. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together, and said unto them, These are the words which the Lord hath commanded, that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be to you an holy day, and a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death.
Now, look, it says a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. So the main reason that you are resting on this Sabbath day is in honor of the Most High. You just get the benefits of having the day off of not working, servile work, and being stressed out and things like that because he's resting. It ain't for you. It's because he's resting, so you partake into that. All right? Read on.
Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day.
Upon the Sabbath day. Because what day are you supposed to be kindling fire on? I got one hand. I got 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let's see. The brother way in the back by the wall. That's why it's lined it up like that. So what day are you supposed to kindle fire on? Stand up, brother. What's your name?
Shalom, Brother Reuben.
Brother Reuben. Okay. Hawaii, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. All praises. Glad to see you.
So that's on the other 6 days.
Other 6 days, right? And specifically Friday before sundown, so you don't got to kindle the fire on the what day?
On the Sabbath, sir.
There you go. All praises. All right, let's go to Jeremiah 17. Jeremiah chapter 17, and we're going to read verse 21 and 22.
The book of Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 21.
Uh-huh.
Thus saith the Lord, take heed to yourselves and bear no burden on the Sabbath day.
Bear no burden on the Sabbath day. Read on.
Nor bring it in by the gates of Jerusalem. Neither carry forth a burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day. Neither do ye any work, but hallow ye the Sabbath day as I commanded your fathers.
So it says, bear no burdens on the Sabbath day. Go to Nehemiah 13. Let's see what it means to bear no burdens on the Sabbath day. Nehemiah 13. Let's read 16 through 19.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 13 and verse 16. There dwelt men of Tyre also therein.
Who is Tyre? Who are those people? Africans, right? Hamites. Go ahead.
And all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and in Jerusalem. Then I contended with them, the nobles of Judah, and said unto them, what evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day?
Do what?
And profane the Sabbath day.
What word does profane correlate to in Isaiah 56 and 2? John Levi had his hand up first. What word does that correlate to?
Pollute.
Pollute. There you go, right? Pollute. So read on. Verse 18.
Did not your fathers thus, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be open till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day.
That no what?
No burden be brought in on the Sabbath day.
So we read in Jeremiah, it says, carry no burden on the Sabbath day, but hallow it. So what was they doing? What was the burden that they was doing? It was transacting business, carrying heavy loads. So it let you know that these was wealthy brothers, wealthy sisters. These wasn't poor people. They was carrying heavy loads of ware from all the Tyre and Zidon, of all the nations around them, bringing it forth back in and out of Jerusalem to sell to the people. The same way that our people do today. When the sales hit, they hit on Saturday on the Sabbath day. They walk in and out the mall with bags full of clothes, carrying burdens back and forth, in and out. God says you shall not do that. Hallow it. And for that reason, he said, you're going to bring great evil, or bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath day. Go to Amos, the book of Amos. Here's some more polluting the Sabbath. You know what I want in Amos. You know what
Book of Amos, chapter 8.
4 and 5.
The book of Amos, chapter 8, verse 4. Hear this, O ye that swallow up the needy, even that make the poor of the land to fail.
To fail. Go ahead.
Saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn?
So you swallow up the needy. You got your business open on that Sabbath day. You won't even let the poor rest to keep their money in their pocket. You try to swindle them and drain them for all their money. You saying, when will the new moon be gone that we may sell so we can get the money from these poor people already poor? Go ahead.
And the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small and the shekel great, and falsifying the balances by deceit.
You even gonna cheat them out of their money. You gonna raise up the prices on them. Yeah, raise it up and stuff on the Sabbath day on them. We was wicked. Go back to Isaiah. So that's polluting the Sabbath, some forms of doing it. Now, what was the way that we polluted the Sabbath earlier? We read it before. That's why I said you got to pay attention. Where did it talk about? How else did we pollute the Sabbath? Let's see. It's in Ezekiel. It was in Ezekiel. I read it twice to make sure you pay attention to it. Matthias. What was we also doing?
Ezekiel 20, 10 through 16.
Yeah, but what was we doing? How was we polluting the Sabbath, though? It said it. It said it. Okay, ain't got that much time. We was worshiping idols. It's the last precept in verse 16. We was worshiping idols, polluting the Sabbath. All right, back in Isaiah 56, let's read 2 and 3 now.
Isaiah chapter 56, verse 2. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil.
From doing any evil. Go ahead.
Neither let the son of the stranger that hath joined himself to the Lord speak, saying.
Let's stop. Let's deal with the stranger, because this is where they get in. It's what Christians say. Oh, here we go. We were strangers. Neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to the Lord. Hosea 1. Let's read 6 through 9.
The book of Hosea, chapter 1 and verse 6. And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And God said unto him, call her name Loruhamah. Loruhamah. For I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and will save them by the Lord their God, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. Now when she had weaned Loruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. Then said God, call his name Lo-Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God.
Ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Go back to Isaiah 56 and 3.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 3. Neither let the son of the stranger that hath joined himself to the Lord speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people.
From his people. Go to Hosea 4:17 now. Let's get the name of one of the strangers that God's talking about.
Hosea chapter 4 verse 17. Ephraim is joined to idols.
Joined to what?
Idols. Let him alone.
Let him what?
Let him alone.
Because I am not your God, and ye are not my people. You are now what to me, brothers? Strangers. All right. You see Ephraim now, right? Let's go to 2 Kings, and let's read 17. 1 through 3. We're going to read how that came about right there. 2 Kings 17, and let's read 1 through 3. We're going to jump around in this chapter.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 17, verse 1. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years.
That's Hosea that we just read, right? So now we got a timeline and the king, right? Go ahead.
And he...
Now, before we do it, because I got this question earlier. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah. The scribe is naming both kings during this time, so you can have a time frame of when it happened. historically. That's why all these names that in the 12th year of Ahaz, when you read the book of Kings, in the 12th year of Ahaz, then Hoshea began to reign. And then it'll keep going and on and on and on. So you don't get confused of when they started to reign. It's giving you a historical timeline. All right. Read on verse 2.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents.
Now this is Shalmaneser the fifth. Write that down. This is Shalmaneser the fifth. And Lord's will, Bishop will be going over some Assyrian history. Lord's will, life lasts, we get to see it. So he may expound on this even more, but this is Shalmaneser, king of the Assyria, Shalmaneser the fifth, right? Jump up to verse 7 through 12 real quick.
Verse 7, for so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their God. And they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And they set them up images in groves in every high hill and under every green tree. And there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. For they served idols, wherefore the Lord had said unto them, ye shall not do this thing.
Jump over to verse 18. So because of that idolatry, right? Verse 18 happened.
Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only.
So we read in Hosea, Ephraim is joined to what, brothers? Do what with him? Let him alone. Now that's the detail in 2 Kings 17. How they was doing it. It says they did these things secretly. They went up under trees. They profaned the Sabbath. They polluted, let the sons and daughters pass through the fire. That's the detail of why he cut them off, and they became strange. 2 Chronicles. And let's read 15. Let's read 3 and 4, because we read just Ephraim, right?
2 Chronicles chapter 15.
15, let's read 3 and 4.
Verse 3. 2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 3. Now, for a long season, Israel had been without the true God.
A long season, because God did what to him? What did he do to him, brothers? What did it say in Hosea? He did what to him? Cut him off. There you go. He cut him off. He wasn't dealing with him. Read verse 3 again.
Now for a long season, Israel had been without the true God, and without a teaching priest, and without law.
Without what?
Without law.
Read on.
But when they, in their trouble, did turn unto the Lord God of Israel, and sought him, he was found of them.
Now jump up to verse 9.
Verse 9, and he gathered all Judah and Benjamin.
Because remember, we read in 2 Kings, none was left but the tribe of Judah only. So now you understand when it says Judah, it's also talking about Benjamin and Levi. They was the house of Judah also. They fell up under that. So read that again, verse 9.
Verse 9, and he gathered all Judah and Benjamin, and the strangers.
And the what?
And the strangers with them out of Ephraim and Manasseh.
And who else?
Out of Ephraim and Manasseh.
So just them strangers. You had Ephraim, he named Manasseh, and who else?
And out of Simeon.
And who else?
And out of Simeon.
So they all fell into the strangers along with the rest of the 10 tribes. But this is a precept just giving you more names of them. Read it again, verse 9.
And he gathered all Judah and Benjamin and the strangers with them out of Ephraim and Manasseh and out of Simeon. For they fell to him out of Israel in abundance when they saw that the Lord his God was with him.
Going back to Isaiah now.
Isaiah chapter 56.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me see something. I want to start there. Isaiah 56. Yeah, let's read verse 3 again.
Verse 3. Neither let the son of the stranger
Who that would be Ephraim, that would be Manasseh, Simeon, and the other tribes. Go ahead.
that hath joined himself to the Lord speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people.
What does that mean? He have joined himself to the Lord. What does that mean? Through the precepts we just read, what does that mean? He joined himself to the Lord. So what did he actually do for God to say, don't let him say, I separated him from my people? What did he actually do? We just read it in the last verse. Jeramiel, stand up.
They returned to the Lord.
Meaning what? They did what?
They repented,
And
turned away from their idols.
what they kept.
They kept the commandments.
There you go. They kept the commandment because they had been without law for a long time. That's why I read verse 3 and 4. They had been without law for a long time. But as soon as they was ready to turn back, God welcomed them in. There's nothing new up under the sun. It's going to tie together until this very day right now. We'll build up to it, Lord's will. All right, let's go back to Isaiah 56. Let's read the bottom part of verse 3. Neither let
the son of the stranger,
or neither let the eunuch.
neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree.
Okay, dry tree, meaning pull up the picture of what a dry tree look like so we can get the visual of what God is talking about. Because remember, he speaks in similitudes. Okay, so these is pictures of dry trees, right? Scroll through them. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, keep going. Keep going. So you see something that is very common between all of them, right? What would that be, brothers? Abel, let's see what you got. What would that be that's common between all of those trees?
Yeah, they have no leaves, meaning that there's no life in them.
Okay, but what else do trees bring forth? Darius. Fruits. Go to Psalms 127. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. Psalms 127, verse 3.
The book of Psalms, chapter 127, verse 3. Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb.
Hold on, children are what?
An heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is reward.
Is that it on verse 3?
Yes, sir.
Read it again for me.
Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is reward.
So they are the fruit of the womb. Going back to Isaiah now. So we read that. Well, we don't go to Isaiah. It says, neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. Right? And we'll get down to it. Go to Matthew 19. I want to read verse 12.
The book of Matthew, chapter 19 and verse 12. For there are some eunuchs which were so born from their mother's womb.
Okay.
And there are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men. And there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake.
Is that it? The kingdom of heaven's sake? Go ahead.
He that is able to receive it, let him receive it.
So here's my question. We're talking about eunuchs, right? Dry trees. What type of eunuch was Christ? What type of eunuch would he fall in? Because he gave you 3 different categories of eunuchs. Matthias, what type of eunuch was he? What would he fall under there? Read it again for him. Verse 12.
Matthew chapter 19 and verse 12. For there are some eunuchs which were so born from their mother's womb.
Read on.
And there are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men. And there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake.
So out of those 3 categories, where would Christ fall in at?
The third category, where he made eunuchs for the kingdom's sake.
Eunuch for the kingdom's sake, right? Okay, what about, you can sit down. What type of eunuch would Paul be? How do we know? I ain't going into it. I ain't got enough time for all these precepts. La Wahhabia. Lord's will, the Spirit descend upon you, and it pops in your head to find out how do we know Paul was a eunuch. What type of eunuch was he?
Paul was he made himself a eunuch for man's sake.
What is it says the what in here?
What was the question, sir?
You right. You got it right. You just used the wrong word. Read the bottom part of it for him again, Officer Judah. Which have made themselves what?
Which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake.
So he made himself a eunuch for what?
For the kingdom's sake.
The kingdom's sake. Exactly right. Okay. Go to Daniel, chapter 1. Let's read 1 through 3.
The book of Daniel, chapter 1, verse 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand with the part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God.
So what is modern day Shinar? Who knows what is modern day Shinar? Mordecai. Modern day Shinar. Be ready to write this down.
Iraq.
Iraq. Modern day Shinar is Iraq. Iraq is how they want to say it sometimes, right? Okay, so verse 3.
Verse 3, and the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and of the king's seed and of the princes.
Jump down to verse 6.
Verse 6, now among these were of the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave unto Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah of Abednego.
So what type of eunuchs were they? Let's see. Manasseh. Were they eunuchs at all?
They were eunuchs of man.
They were what?
Eunuchs of man.
What makes you believe they was eunuchs of man out of that scripture? How would you explain that? These are questions we got to think about. How we just get all the meat off the bone. What would explain? How would you explain they was eunuchs of man with that? Because it just said they was given to the master of the eunuchs.
I would have said verse 3.
Well, you just got to explain it. You just got to know it. Anybody else? Let's see. Officer Luke, up front.
Because the king chopped off their rod because he didn't want them sleeping with women, so they was made eunuchs for men's sake.
Right, but how would you know they was made eunuchs? Right in here. Zacchaeus.
It says that they were given to the master of the eunuchs.
There you go. They was given to the master of the eunuchs. They ain't give him for no reason. Because right before that, they done had some surgery. So you teach them up how you got by and dealt with it right there. That's what happened. They was made eunuchs by man. That's the category that they fell into, right? Going back to Isaiah 56, and let's read 4.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 4. For thus saith the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant.
Hold on, let's see. Hold on right there. For thus saith the Lord to the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me. Baruch 4. Let's find that out. The things that please the Lord. Let's see who that falls up under. And we're going to see how all of this correlates back to Israel. Here's the precepts.
The book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 4. O Israel.
Oh, who?
O Israel. Happy are we, for the things that are pleasing to God are made known unto us.
Oh, Israel. Going back now. No, going back to that.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 4. For thus saith the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me.
That please me. Read on.
And take hold of my covenant.
Take hold of my covenant. Let's see what that means. Let's see what that means. Deuteronomy. Take hold of my covenant. Deuteronomy 28, and let's read verse 1 and 2.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Jump over to verse 15. So you read the first part. The first part of the covenant. Commandment, blessed. Verse 15.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Overtake thee, right? Deuteronomy 29 and 1.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29, verse 1.
Now read this. Read that.
These are the words of the covenant.
Of the what?
Of the covenant. Which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he had made with them in Horeb.
Jump up to verse 14. So that Deuteronomy 28, verse 1, verse 15 were covenants. Do this, I'll do this. You do this, I'll do this. That's an agreement. 29, let's read verse 14 and 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 14. Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before the Lord our God, and also with him that is not here with us this day.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Let's see who I got. Solomon, what does that mean?
That means our generation, up to us today.
All the way up to us today. That covenant has never been broken. Never. So as long as we stay in the midst of sin, 15 through 68 will be relevant. And the reason why you have to bring that out is because our people in the world are going to Sunday church every week, and when they talk about us, one of the things they want to pull out, the curses of Deuteronomy 28 have already been revealed, or they passed already. That ain't what that just says. That says that I don't make it just with you right here today. That's with them that are to come in the future. So we still held up under that Deuteronomy 28 and 1. Keep the commandments, be blessed. If you sin, curse. We still held to that, right? Go back to Isaiah 56. Isaiah 56, and let's read verse 5.
Isaiah chapter 56, verse 5. Even unto them will I give in mine house, and within my walls a place and a name, better than the sons and of daughters.
So let's deal with the part where it says, even unto them will I give in mine house and within my walls, right? Let's go to Ezekiel 37. In mine house, Ezekiel 37, and let's read verse 26 and through 28 is what I got here.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 37 and verse 26.
Because starting out right there, starting from verse, where does we start at? Now, verse 3 is talking about strangers, right? But we getting precepts. 37, 26 on down.
Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 26. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. And I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, the Lord, do sanctify Israel. And when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore.
So sanctuary equals what? what do we read? What does that correlate to back in Isaiah 56? Matthias.
His house.
His house. Another word for sanctuary is my house. That's my sanctuary right there. He said, my sanctuary. Read verse 28 again. It's letting you know that these strangers in Isaiah 56 is not talking about other people. Read verse 28 again.
Ezekiel 37, verse 28. And the heathen shall know that I, the Lord, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore.
Forevermore. Let's go back to Isaiah.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 5. Even unto them will I give in mine house, and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off.
Why would the Lord, who's he talking about in that verse 5? Why would he give them a name better than sons and daughters? Let's see, who's thinking? Why would he give them? Who will we talk about them that's a name better than sons and daughters? Let's see. Abel, what you got? Let's see. Make sure we ain't forgot.
Israel. Because we profaned the name of the Lord.
Nope, not at all. Who's that in the back? Philip? Soldier Philip.
He's talking about the eunuchs.
Talking about the eunuchs. Why? Why are you talking about them?
He's talking about the eunuchs because eunuchs can't have children to leave their name to.
There you go. They can't have kids to leave their name to. That's why we read Psalms 27 and 3. The fruit of the womb is children. They can't do that. But God said, if you take a hold of the covenant, I'll give you a name better than your sons and daughters could ever give you. Right? All right, let's read verse 6.
Isaiah chapter 56, verse 6. Also, the sons of the stranger.
The son of who?
The stranger.
Now, let's get 1 Peter. First Peter chapter 1, verse 1 and 2.
The book of 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 2.
1 and 2.
Verse 1. Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia, elect according to the foreknowledge of God the Father through sanctification of the Spirit unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Jesus Christ.
So it said the sons of the strangers are the elect. What's the precept for elect? Let's see who these brothers in the back. Give it to, is that Duell? Duell got his hand up. Let's see what Duell got. A precept for elect. What do you got?
Isaiah 45.
And verse 4. We'll take it. You got the right chapter. Go to it.
All praises.
All praises.
Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 4.
So now Peter's telling you who those strangers are also, right? Go ahead.
For Jacob, my servant's sake, and Israel, mine elect.
Israel is the elect of God. Now let's go to, what else I got here? Go to Luke 17 and 11. Let's show you something that Christ said about some strangers, right? Luke 17. Hold on. Let me get there with you because I'm a jump in this. Luke chapter 17. And let's read let's start at verse 11.
Luke chapter 17 and verse 11. And it came to pass, as he went to Jerusalem, that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee.
He passed through Samaria and Galilee, right? Go to Matthew 4. Let's read 12 through 15. Let's see who's in Samaria and Galilee. We're going to get some more names.
The book of Matthew, chapter 4 and verse 12. Now when Jesus had heard that John was cast into prison, he departed into Galilee.
Departed where?
Into Galilee.
Okay.
And leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the seacoast in the borders of Zebulun.
In the borders of where?
Zebulun.
Okay.
And Naphtali. That it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali.
Where was they at?
By the way of the sea, beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles.
Hold on. Galilee of the Gentiles. Who was living there? Jump back up to the top again.
Leaving verse 15, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali.
Now let's go back to Luke. I'm going to show you something. Luke 17, and we're going to read 11 again.
Luke chapter 17 and verse 11.
Remember those names. Go ahead.
And it came to pass as he went to Jerusalem that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee.
Jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16. And fell down on his face at his feet.
So he got healed from his leprosy, right? Go ahead.
Giving him thanks, and he was a man of Samaria. He was a Samaritan.
He was a Samaritan, right? Read on.
And Jesus answering said, were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? But where are the 9? There are not found that return to give glory to God, save this stranger.
Save this who?
This stranger.
Hold on. Who was those strangers that he just named back in Matthew 4? Who was it, brothers? Wrong. It wasn't Israel. Pay attention. Pay attention, man. I'm trying to connect the dots for you. It wasn't close. They way off. Mordecai, who was the strangers that was up there that he said, who? Nobody returned except this stranger.
Zebulon and Naphtali.
Zebulon and Naphtali. Hold the mic. Give the mic back to him. Now name all the strangers that we've went through so far today.
So we did Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon, and then Zebulon and Naphtali.
Okay, there we go. So we getting somewhere. We getting somewhere where we see that Christ and all of our forefathers refer to the northern kingdom as strangers. Read verse 17, 18 again.
Luke chapter 17, verse 17. And Jesus answered, saying, were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? There are not found that return to give glory to God, save this stranger.
Zebulon and Naphtali and Ephraim and all of them. This is the only one that came back. Going back to Isaiah.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 6. Also the sons of the stranger that joined themselves to the Lord, to serve him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants.
Now let's see. I want to write. Why would they have to join themselves to the Lord? Why? We already went over it earlier. Let's see. Darius, I got one hand. 2 brothers that remember.
They went into idolatry?
They went into idolatry. What's the easier word to say? They was what? They was in the midst of...
Idol? Sin?
Sin. They was in the midst of sin. Isaiah 59, 2.
The book of Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 2.
So let's show you what sin does that makes you have to join yourself to the Lord. Read that.
But your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hid his face from you that he will not hear.
That's why they would have to join themselves to the Lord. They sin separated them from the Lord. Go back to Isaiah 56 now.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 6. Although also the sons of the stranger that joined themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants.
Who are the servants of the Lord? What's the precept for that? The servants of the Lord. La Wahhabia. Servants of the Lord.
Isaiah 44 and 1.
Isaiah what?
44. I mean Isaiah 45 and 1.
Okay, let's get that one. Let's see what that one say. I mean, nobody was thinking that one out there. Read that for us. Isaiah 45 and 1.
Isaiah 45 verse 1.
Let's see. I don't know.
Thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus.
Okay, that's not it. Isaiah 45 is 44.
Isaiah 44 verse 1.
Okay.
Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant.
Oh, okay. Jacob, my servant. Go ahead.
Israel, whom I have chosen.
Okay. Go to Leviticus 25. And the last verse, right?
Yes, sir. The book of Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 55.
I'm giving you all the precepts that you possibly could of Isaiah 56, line upon line. Go ahead.
For unto me the children of Israel are servants.
Are who?
Are servants. They are my servants whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God.
Go to Romans chapter 9. Is that what I want? Yep. Romans chapter 9. And let's read 3 and 4.
Yes, sir. Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9 and verse 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants.
Go ahead.
and the giving of the law, and the service of God.
The servants of God. Read on.
And the promises.
Read on. Read verse 5.
Whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Christ came, who is over all, God blessed forever. Amen.
So if Christ only came for them, ain't no way you can say he came for all nations. He's over all. You can't tell him who he came for. Well, they never read that in church. I never knew it was in the Bible. Going back to Isaiah 56.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 6. Also the sons of strangers that joined themselves to the Lord, to serve him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants, every one that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and taketh hold of my covenant.
Who was the Sabbath for? Who was it for, brothers? Okay. What precept would you give me? Darius, let's see what you got.
Exodus 31, verse 16.
Damn, you good, boy. You got my Bible? Yeah, go to that.
Yes, sir.
That's the perfect precept.
Yes, sir.
Damn, you good. You good. That's good. All praises.
The book of Exodus, chapter 31 and verse 15.
Okay, go ahead.
6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is a Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore, the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed.
Okay, so it's a sign between. When was the sign shown? Because we read the Sabbath all the time. And he's like, oh, it's just, yeah, it's us and God. When was the sign showed to Israel? Yeah. Brother, the hell. Pagiel, Officer Pagiel, up front. Let's see what you got. When was the sign showed to Israel?
When he made the world.
When he made the world. Give me something better. Sirach, what you got? Let's see. You close with no lamb.
In Exodus 16, when he first taught Israel how to do it.
No. You want to take another stab at it, Officer Pagiel? Okay. Let Officer Pagiel redeem himself. Go ahead.
Talking about 2nd Ezra 6.
Nope. Let me give it a Solomon Levi again. Let's see what he got. When was the sign showed to Israel?
Genesis 20 and 8.
20? Genesis 20 and 8.
Exodus.
Nope. Reuben in the back.
Is it Genesis 1 and 14? When he showed up the wonders and signs?
You asking me a question. No.
Genesis 1 and 14, sir.
No. Nariah.
When he rested on the seventh day and hallowed it.
When was that?
At the end of making everything he did on the earth.
What chapter? What book?
Genesis 2 and 1.
There you go. Genesis 2. The sign was showed to Israel. But stand back up, Nariah. But Israel wasn't on the earth. So how can you justify what you just said about the sign being showed?
He made the Sabbath day before anyone showed up, so you should know that you should celebrate it. It's part of the laws.
Okay, all right. This might be a little meat off the bone. Mordecai, let's see what you got. The sign was showed in Genesis 2 to Israel.
Basically, when
but hell, they wasn't even made. Well, 6 days, yeah, they was made.
When he showed it onto Moses when he was in the mountain.
Okay, let's bring it. This is a purple shirt question. Bring it up. Let's give it a Sirach.
Because we were there when the Sabbath was established in 2nd Ezra 9.
There we go. Let's go to it. That's right. 2nd Ezra chapter 9. Let's read it. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 18 and 19.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 18. And now when I prepared the world which was not yet made, even for them to dwell in that now live, no man spake against me.
No man did what?
Spake against me.
No man spake against him. Read on.
For then everyone obeyed. But now the manners of them which are created in this world that is made are corrupted by a perpetual seed, and by a law which is unsearchable rid themselves.
So Israel, we was with the Lord before the earth was ever made. The Most High already had Israel in his mind before he even said, let there be light. Before the first day, Israel was just, we just up there in the spirit world waiting to be wrapped in flesh to come down, and the sign to rest was already showed to us. Genesis 2. All right, good precept. All right, let's go to back to Isaiah.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 7. Even them will I bring to my holy mountain.
Hold on, you in verse 6?
Yes, sir.
No, okay, now let's see. Do I want verse 6 or 7?
Just to give y'all a precept, test. Just to give y'all a precept. Read Isaiah 56 and verse 6.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 6. Also the sons of the stranger that joined themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants, every one that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it and taketh hold of my covenant.
All right, remember this is during the Assyrian captivity. When you go to 2 Kings chapter 19, read verse 2 just to give them a timeline.
2 Kings chapter 19 and verse 2. And he sent Eliakim, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the priests, covered with sackcloth, to Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz.
All right, so this is around the time, after the split and the time around Hezekiah. Now go to Tobit chapter 1, read verse 1. There you go.
The book of Tobit chapter 1 and verse 1. The book of the words of Tobit, son of Tobiel, the son of Ananiel, and the son of Aduel, the son of Gabriel, the seed of Asiel of the tribe of Naphtali.
Now we read that Naphtali was one of the ones that were considered as what? Strangers. Now remember, he says, anyone out of the strangers that come back and keep the Sabbath, go to Tobit chapter 5. Let's read verse 11 down to 13.
The book of Tobit, chapter 5 and verse 11. To whom he said, dost thou seek for a tribe or a family, or an hired man to go with thy son? Then Tobit said unto him, I would know, brother, thy kindred and name. And then he said, I am Azarias, the son of Ananias the great, and of thy brethren. Then Tobit said,
Pay attention to what Tobit says here. Read.
Thou art welcome, brother. Be not now angry with me, because I have inquired to know thy tribe and thy family.
Read.
For thou art my brother, and of an honest and good stock. For I know Ananias and Jonathas, sons of the great Samias, as we went together to Jerusalem to worship.
He went where?
To Jerusalem to worship.
Read.
And offered the firstborn and the tenths of the fruits, and they were not seduced with the error of our brethren. My brother, thou art of a good stock.
So what did he go to Jerusalem to go do? La Wahhabia. Boy, that was one of the times that you'll go in the year, but this wasn't the Passover. But he went to, just to sum it up, what did we use in Isaiah 56? What was it called?
The Sabbath.
The Sabbath. He went back to Jerusalem to observe the Sabbath. Because we read in Ezekiel, just one more precept, Ezekiel 20 and 10. Ezekiel chapter 20 in verse 10. Read that when you get it.
Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 10.
Sorry, verse 12.
Verse 12. Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 12. Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths.
He gave them what?
My Sabbaths. To be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctified them.
So when we read in Exodus chapter 31 and verse 16, this one is letting us know that he gave us Sabbaths. That goes into the first and last day of the Feast of Tabernacles. Passover. Pentecost. He had to go there. It's letting you know. And this was the time of when God says you're no longer my people. Letting you know when Isaiah prophesied, as long as you come back and keep my Sabbaths, you're good with me.
Yep.
Tobit was doing just that.
Yep, exactly right. All right, going back to Isaiah 56, let's read verse 7.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 7. Even them will I bring to my holy mountain.
To my holy mountain. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 40. We're dealing with the holy mountain. Let's see where that holy mountain is.
Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 40. For in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel.
That mountain is where?
In the height of Israel. Thus saith the Lord God, there shall all the house of Israel.
All the who?
House of Israel. All of them in the land serve me. There will I accept them. There will I require your offerings and your first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things.
So God says that Israel would be in that holy mountain, right? Go to Joel chapter 3, verse 17. I want to show you something here.
The book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 17.
It's to tie all of it together. Light should turn on like boom, just like it. Lord's will. Let's see what happens. Joel 3 and 17. Let's read that.
So shall ye know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, in my holy mountain.
Read it again.
So shall ye know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain.
The holy mountain is Zion, another name for Israel. Go ahead.
Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore.
Hold on. Well, God just said in Isaiah 56, the strangers shall be joined. They can come as long as they keep the Sabbath. What strangers is this talking about in Joel 3:17? Jeramiel, are these strangers Israel or who are they?
Mike.
Microphone, where we at? He's standing up right in front of you. Come on, y'all. Come on, man.
Yes, they are Israel.
They are what?
They are Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon, Zebulun, and Naphtali.
Read it again for him. Let's go over this. Read it again.
The book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 17. So shall ye know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore.
Jeramiel, stand up. But how can they join themselves to the Lord if they strangers of Israel, but they can't come back? Well, what do you mean? So how are they Israel? Explain it.
They're Israel because they left off going into idolatry.
They can't. So they can't come back. Then that's what. Oh, brother. Oh, no. Lord, watch out for this brother right here. Northern Kingdom can't come back. Matthias.
Hey man, so I gotta leave right now.
Oh, you gotta leave.
I gotta leave.
Leon,
and you sitting right next to Manasseh.
Oh man,
security.
Matthias. Who is this talking about?
The strangers in this verse is talking about the other nations.
Right. It's talking about the other nations. It's talking about the other nations. Okay, let's go back to Isaiah 56 and let's read verse 7 again to give him the understanding of it. Read
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 7. Even them will I bring to my holy mountain.
I will bring them to my holy mountain. Read on.
And make them joyful in my house of prayer.
And make them joyful. Let's go to Isaiah 61 and 5. This is going to help you out right here, Jeremiah.
Isaiah chapter 61 verse 5. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers.
Jeremiah, what strangers is this that's feeding flocks and building up? Stand up. You got to redeem yourself, brother.
You got it. Other nations.
There you go. That's right. That's the other nations that will no longer pass through that place no more. And it's going to prove it. Go ahead. Verse 6 on down.
Verse 6, but ye shall be named the priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. For your shame ye shall have double, and for confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be unto them.
What's going to be to us?
Everlasting joy shall be unto them.
Unto them. Go ahead.
For I, the Lord, love judgment.
You love what?
I, the Lord, love judgment.
What did God tell us to do in the very first verse of Isaiah 56? Two hands, 3, 4. Ira, what did he tell us to do in the very first verse?
To keep judgment.
Keep judgment because he loves judgment. Read verse 8 again.
For I, the Lord, love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offering, and I will direct their work in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which the Lord hath blessed.
Verse 10.
I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God.
Remember, we went here because it said, I will make them joyful in my house. Verse 10, read it again.
I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God. For he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness.
We read that back in Isaiah 56:1, right? He said, I bring my righteousness near. My salvation is to come. For who, brothers? The house of who? Israel. Read on.
As a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels.
Go to Jeremiah 31. We're dealing with the joyful part. Jeremiah 31. Let's read 11 through 14.
Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 11. For the Lord hath redeemed Jacob.
You got to read quick.
For the Lord hath redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. Therefore they shall come and sing in the height of Zion, and shall flow together to the goodness of the Lord, for wheat and for wine, and for oil, and for the young of the flock and of the herd. And their soul shall be as a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow any more at all. Then shall the virgin rejoice in the dance.
The virgin is going to do what?
Rejoice in the dance. Both young men and old together. For I will turn their mourning into joy.
Mourning into joy. Go ahead.
And I will comfort them and make them rejoice from their sorrow. And I will satiate the soul.
Satiate.
And I will satiate the soul of the priests with fatness, and my people shall be satisfied with my goodness, saith the Lord.
Now let's go back to Isaiah 56, and let's read verse 7 again. So now we know who that's talking about.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 56 and verse 7. Even them will I bring to my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer.
In my house of prayer. Go to Revelation. My house of prayer, right? Revelation 8, and let's read, I think it's verse 3.
The book of Revelation, chapter 8 and verse 3. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne.
Give me a precept for the saints. Precept for the saints. Mordecai had his hand up. Precept for the saints. If you don't have these precepts, you should be writing them down in your Bible.
Psalms 148 and verse 14.
Okay, will you give me another one?
Psalms 50 and 5.
That's the one I want. Let's go to that one. That's clear cut.
The book of Psalms, chapter 50 and verse 8. Verse 5, excuse me. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
Who made a covenant with God by sacrifice, brothers? Who was it? Israel. Now let's go, because it said a house of prayer, right? First Maccabees, chapter 7. We almost finished. First Maccabees 7, and let's read verse 36 and 37. Let's see what our forefathers knew.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 36. Then the priest entered in and stood before the altar in the temple, weeping and saying, Thou, O Lord, didst choose this house to be called by thy name, and to be a house of prayer,
and
petition for thy people.
For who?
For thy people.
For who?
For thy people.
For thy people. So those strangers back in Isaiah 56 are who, brothers? Israel. Let's go back to Isaiah 56.
Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 7.
Yep.
Even them will I bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer.
Make them joyful in my house of prayer. Read on.
Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon mine altar. For mine house shall be called an house of prayer for all people.
For all people of the nation of who, brothers? Israel. Read on.
The Lord God which gathereth the outcasts of Israel saith, Yet I gather others to him, beside those that are gathered unto him.
Gathered unto him. Right? Let's go to John. We're going to read these real quick.
John chapter 11.
John 10.
Okay.
Let's read 14 through 16.
John chapter 10, verse 14.
Because it says, the Lord God will gather the outcast of Israel, yet will I gather others to him also. Let's see who those others are. Because those others, they could be the multitude in Revelation. Let's see who it is. John 10, let's read 14 through 16.
John chapter 10 and verse 14. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and I am known of mine. As the Father knoweth me, even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold.
Which are not, what does he mean when he says, which are not of this fold? Now, you would have to know some history to understand what he's talking about, and we went over it already. I got 2, 3. Oh, Ebenezer, welcome. You're here today. Happy Sabbath. Who?
Happy Sabbath.
Who is he talking about, and where we read that at that are not of this fold? What does he mean?
That's talking about Northern Kingdom.
About Northern Kingdom. Where will we read that at?
I forgot the exact scripture on there.
Oh God, you just throwing stuff out like a Christian. I need a precept. Where we read that at? He said, "I have others that are not of this fold." What does he mean, John Levi?
2nd Ezra 13:40.
No, I didn't even pull that today. No, I ain't pulled that. Alfred.
Hosea 1:9.
Say it again.
Hosea.
Nope.
Nope.
Manasseh. You got his hand. Who's it? No, Manasseh ain't got his hand up. Michael. Manasseh got scared as hell.
2 Kings.
2 Kings
17.
17. Now, okay. All right. Now, what does it say in there? How do we, when he said, because he says, not of this fold. Where is that read at in 2 Kings 17? Okay, I ain't got time. Jeremiel, you got your hand up. Where is that explained in 2 Kings 17?
When he says that he only has the tribe of Judah and the tribe of the tribes of Northern Kingdom, he cast away.
You done split 3 scriptures together. Okay, I give it to you close. In 2 Kings 17, he said the Lord removed Israel out of his sight. There were none remaining but the tribe of Judah and Benjamin only. And who else dwelt among Judah and Benjamin, brothers? Who was it? Levi. So now we get to the New Testament. Christ is telling you what 2 Kings was talking about. Read that again, verse 16.
John chapter 10 and verse 16. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold.
Which are not of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which are not here right now with us. Go ahead.
Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and they shall be one fold,
one nation,
and one shepherd.
And one shepherd. I'll only have remnants of them here now, but it has to be one fold. What was the names of some of the remnants that we read about today, that we read about today? What's the name of some of the remnants? Paul, what was the name of some of the remnants that were in Israel while Christ was there? Let's get the name of some of them.
Zebulun, Naphtali, Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon.
There you go. All right. Now here's another one. Here's another one. What's another one that we read about in the scriptures that was there? Sirach. Another name of a stranger tribe that was there.
Asher.
Asher. Where we read it at?
It's in Luke. I can't remember off the top of my head. But
Okay,
it's in
where's
Luke.
it at? Who knows where it's at? Luke what? Luke chapter 2. Let's go to it. Luke chapter 2, and let's read verse 36. That's where it's at. Luke 2, 36. Here's another one of the tribes that was there, the remnants. Go ahead.
Luke chapter 2, verse 36. And there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher.
Of the tribe of who?
Asher.
The tribe of Asher. Now let's go to John chapter 11. John chapter 11, the one you was going to pull earlier.
John chapter 11.
Let's start at verse 49 on down to 52.
Yes, sir. The book of John chapter 11 and verse 49.
Because we dealing with the others that have to be gathered also. Read that.
And one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all.
Speed up.
Nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not.
The whole nation perish not. Go ahead.
And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for that nation, and not for that nation only.
And what on it says he should die for that nation, and not for that nation only. What nation is the high priest referring to? What nation is he referring to? Solomon. Southern kingdom. Make sure the mic's on for him, y'all. The southern kingdom. Verse 52.
Verse 52. And not for that nation only, but that also he should to gather together.
He should do what?
Gather together in one the children of God.
The children of who?
Of God that were scattered abroad.
Go back and read Isaiah 56 and 8. Let's read that.
The book of Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 8. The Lord God which gathereth the outcasts of Israel saith, Yet I gathered the others, yet I will gather others to him, beside those that are gathered unto him.
I have to go gather the other children of God that are scattered abroad. Now let's go to Ephesians. We're going to end it on this. Ephesians chapter 2. Now let me show you this. Okay, here's a question. Was the New Testament written while the disciples and Christ walked the earth doing the ministry? Was it written? Yay or nay? Nay, no. Okay, so let's go to Ephesians chapter 2 and let's read from 11 on down to 19.
Ephesians chapter 2 verse 11. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision.
You were called Gentiles in the past. Go ahead.
In the flesh made by hands, that at that time ye were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope, and without God in the world.
What is the commonwealth that all Israel has? What is the commonwealth? Just say it, brothers. The laws, the commandments, the commonwealth. Go ahead.
And strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope, and without God in the world.
Why would they have no hope and without God? Where we read it? Where do we read it? Having no hope and without God. Manasseh had his hand up. Where we read it? No, sit down. You already said the wrong thing. Make sure the mic's on, y'all. The mic's not on. Turn the mic on for him. Okay, Paul.
Hosea 4, they're joined to idols.
Bring it up here, Sirach. Officer Sirach. Quick.
2 Chronicles 15.
No. Everybody's like, damn, I don't know now. Jeramiel.
In Hosea chapter 1.
Hosea chapter 1.
6-9.
There you go. God said, ye are not my people. I'm not your God. Go back to Ephesians now. Verse 12 again. Read it quick. Read the bottom of it, having no hope.
Ephesians chapter
2 and 12. The bottom of it.
Having no hope and without God in the world.
Because he cut them off and said, I'm not your God. Read on.
But now in Christ Jesus, ye who sometimes were far off,
was scattered all over. Go ahead.
Are made nigh by the blood of Christ. For he is our peace, who hath made both one.
Made both one. Both of who, brothers? Both what? Northern and southern. Southern kingdom and northern kingdom made both one. Read on.
And hath broken down the middle wall of partition between us, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments containing ordinances, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace.
Read on.
And that he might reconcile both unto God in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby.
He said reconciling both, because eventually southern kingdom followed their treacherous sister Israel. Judah went and started doing the same thing the northern kingdom was doing and got cut off. That's why the Babylon Nebuchadnezzar came and scooped up who? Who did we read about? Who did Nebuchadnezzar come and scoop up? Mordecai. Who was it? Microphone. Who was it he came? Daniel, the seed of Judah, the princes. He came and scooped them all up. Let's go. Because they followed Israel. Verse 17.
And came and preached peace to you which were afar off, and to them that were not.
Okay, so now let's see who's thinking. It says, and came and preached peace to you which were afar off, and to them that were nigh. How would Israel hear about Christ that was afar off? Let's see. Got to make it quick. Paul, hurry up. How would they hear about this? Because this is written. Go ahead.
Paul being sent to them.
Okay. All right, sit down. Darius, you're right in a sense.
Southern Kingdom going into captivity.
Matthias, how would they hear? This is written 2,000 years ago.
By going to all nations and teaching them.
You tried. Okay, I ain't got time. Headquarters about to come on. And came and preached. Okay, it said, and came and preached peace to you which were afar off, and to them that were nigh. Go to Romans. Romans 10, I believe it is. Okay, Romans 10 and verse 15.
The book of Romans, chapter 10 and verse 15.
14.
Verse 14. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher?
Read on.
And how shall they preach except they be sent?
How shall they preach except they be called? Right? Here's the answer. Read on.
As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good tidings.
Of good
things.
Of good things. So how would back in Ephesians 2 and came and preached peace to you which were afar off? How would they hear that in order to be gathered? Abel. I just read the precept for it. Let's put it together.
Going into street corners and teaching.
Who is that? Y'all brothers, who?
Teaching Israel.
Who?
The lost, the 10 tribes.
Who?
Which is the northern kingdom.
Oh, God. Lord, I can't believe it, man. Goodness gracious. Lemuel. Soldier Lemuel. Give it a Soldier Lemuel. He got his spiritual hand up. Goodness gracious. How?
For the prophets going out teaching.
Who?
The disciples and all the prophets.
Get the mic from me, man. Give it to Officer Luke.
Us.
Huh?
Us. Us today hitting this is the book of the Acts.
There you go. It would be us that would go preach it to the northern kingdom that was afar off, that don't know nothing about God, that's cut off from them, that worship Caesar Bo and what's that? Guadalupe and Mother Mary. It would be us in here to fulfill the scriptures. Abel, please insert yourself into the Bible. It's talking about you, brother. Goodness gracious, y'all. Read verse 17 again. This is y'all history book, and y'all don't put yourself in it.
Ephesians chapter 2,
verse 17.
And verse 17. One second. And came and preached peace to you which were afar off, and to them that were nigh. Keep reading?
Yeah, read on.
For through him we have both access by one Spirit unto the Father.
Here's the point. Read verse 19.
Now therefore ye are no more strangers.
You are no more what?
Strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of God.
So Ephesians 2 is quoting Isaiah 56 in detail. That's all Paul's doing. He's not making up a new doctrine or a new thing on the earth. He is quoting Isaiah 56 and 2 because the New Testament was not written. How would he know about the Gentile or the northern kingdom, who was called Gentiles and strangers, coming back to God if it wasn't for Isaiah 56 prophecy? That's never been talking about all nations coming back to God and being in his house of prayer. Only Israel. Read verse 19 again.
Verse 19, Ephesians chapter 2, verse 19. Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of God.
The household of God is who, brothers? The household of God is who, brothers? Israel. So I pray you understand Isaiah 56 line upon line. I gave you as many precepts as I could possibly give you in the time that we got. Study over this thing and go back and add to it and make it even better. You brothers understand?
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.